Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, no one really notices? Like you've spent your entire life trying to fulfill a role, the provider, only to wake up one day and realize that role doesn't exist anymore? And with it, your value seems to have vanished too? If you're a man, over 35, have had a family, or once carried a household on your back, maybe this feeling has become part of your daily life. And here's the truth. It's not just in your head. The system changed and it didn't tell you. The traditional breadwinner model is dead. And with it, many men were pushed into irrelevance. But why did this happen? And more importantly, what can still be done? For decades, men were taught to provide. It came from fathers, grandfathers, culture, school, even the music we listened to. The man woke up early, did the heavy lifting, came home tired, but respected. Being a man meant being useful. Being a man meant keeping the house running. From the 1950s through the early 2000s, the male identity was tightly linked to labor, production, and provision. Masculinity was measured by how much you earned, how much you carried, how much you could give. But slowly that model began to collapse. Technology advanced. Automation replaced repetitive jobs. The digital age transformed how we work. Entire sectors, factories, manual services, technical roles, were downsized, outsourced, or erased. What once was stability became a threat. The taxi driver lost his job to an app. The cashier was replaced by a self-checkout machine. The mechanic was pushed aside by electric vehicles and diagnostic software. The factory worker was swallowed by robots and artificial intelligence. And no one prepared these men for the shift. There was no warning, no training. What came instead was unemployment, devaluation, and silence. The numbers don't lie. The number of men out of the workforce has grown dramatically in the last 2 decades. And those most affected are the ones over 35, without college degrees, who built their lives working with their hands. These are men who once supported families and now find themselves jobless, in debt, and invisible. Worse, they don't even know where to begin, because today's world demands skills they were never taught. Digital literacy, communication, adaptability, self-marketing. It's like asking a bricklayer to repair a drone. The problem isn't him. The problem is the game changed and no one gave him a rule book. And here comes the cruelest part. Invisibility. When a man stops providing, he doesn't just lose income. He loses respect. He loses space at the table. He loses his voice in the household. He becomes a burden, or is seen as one, not just at work, but at home, in relationships, and in society. Self-esteem crumbles. Motivation disappears. Isolation grows. Many men stay quiet, swallow the pain, pretend everything is fine. But inside, they're broken. Depression, addiction, and suicide rates among middle-aged men have skyrocketed. And still, society doesn't give them space to speak, because men are still expected to be strong, to hold it together, to fix things on their own. But how do you fix something that collapsed both outside and inside? How do you rebuild an identity that was built around a world that no longer exists? The functional man has become an obsolete part. And the worst part? He knows it, but doesn't know what to put in its place. But here's a truth you need to hear. The problem isn't you. The problem is the system. You're not a failure because you're unemployed, exhausted, or lost. You were thrown into a game you didn't know had changed. You don't lack value, you lack updates, you lack direction, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. How to get out of this. Yes, and there are paths. There are ways out, and many of them don't require a degree or money. The first step is understanding that you don't have to compete with 20-year-olds dancing on social media. You just need to reposition yourself. Let's start with practical requalification. There are short, affordable technical courses, in person and online, that teach you things like solar panel installation, modern electrical systems, or even basic IT support. Skills with high demand and low entry barriers. Then there's digital functional work. No, not becoming an influencer. We're talking about tasks like remote customer support, freelance data entry, editing simple videos, or transcription. All you need is a smartphone, internet access, and some guidance. What you already know can be repackaged. It just needs a new format. Also, don't underestimate the power of modern local services. Plumbers, electricians, and painters who use Instagram, WhatsApp, and Google Business are fully booked. You can reposition yourself with basic marketing, real photos of your work, client reviews, fast responses. There's also male micro-entrepreneurship. You can sell a service you've mastered, a product you've created or resell, or even your accumulated knowledge. There's a market for simple consulting, tutorials, basic courses, even YouTube videos explaining what most people don't know but you learned in the field. And above all, you need a support network. Other men who are also rebuilding, mentors, peer groups, online communities. No one thrives in this new world alone. Strength is no longer physical. It's emotional, strategic, and adaptable. The role of the man is changing, but it still exists. The new provider isn't just the one who pays the bills. He's the one who takes responsibility, adapts, learns, and builds again. The new functional man doesn't have to be invisible. He just has to be flexible, present, active, in tune with the time he lives in. Your experience still matters. Your story is still worth telling. What changed is how you show your value to the world. You haven't lost your worth. You just need to relearn how to express it. And that doesn't depend on your age, degree, or luck. It depends on your decision, your direction, and your consistency. The world won't give you back your old role, but you can build a new one with the tools that exist today. If this video spoke to you, leave a comment below. I'm alive and I want to fight back. That helps this message reach other men who are silent, trying to figure out where their place went. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Send it to that guy who looks strong, but deep down is carrying more than he should. Subscribe to the channel because here we talk about what nobody wants to talk about, but what you need to hear. The system erased you, but you can still turn your light back on.